Umamusume is the hot new thing globally. In fact, I'm playing it as I'm writing the script right now. You've most likely seen the memes, the cosplays, the intense edits of the anime and movie. It's pretty good for Cygames, the developer and publisher. You're gonna love the horse girls, even if you don't want to. Its influence and reach is already spreading past the usual anime sphere, with a bunch of streamers playing it and commenters rushing to tell you that Goldship's behaviors were in fact based on the real horse. Personally, I haven't seen something down this level since Genshin released back in 2020, and just like Genshin, it helps that what's being plastered in everyone's face is actually a really fun product. Now, Umamusume has been around for quite a while for those not in Japan. If you want, you can trace it to certain years like when the anime and game released, which was in 2021, but it's been around for longer, like 2016. It's a multimedia series, and coming from the Love Live franchise, it essentially just means they produce a variety of content. Music, anime, manga, games, art, quite possibly anything you're thinking of. Its history is vast and rich, especially taking into context the characters in the series and their real-life counterparts. I'm not here to talk about the lore of the series and how incredibly faithful they are in regards to real-life horses, even though I would absolutely love to do that. I'm here to focus on the question that's been in my mind ever since Umamusume began having a hold on the global world. In the year and upcoming months to when the global version was released, I started noticing that this series was appearing a little bit too often on my timeline. From random memes to friends talking about it, it caught my interest in both the series itself and how it was exactly growing. Now that the game's out and people are loving it, I wanted to do a fun search into how exactly they did this so well. I went to Anime Expo this year and it was full of Umamusume. Not just a Cygames booth, but multiple panels, a meetup, you even had the employees joining in when Umapuri started playing. That's dedication, and something that goes farther than just, here's something global, okay bye. The marketing and reach for this series was incredibly done, and in this quick little video, I want to go over the journey Umamusume has had in regards to how it marketed itself over here. From fans showing support to Cygames collaborating with real-life horse racing, this wasn't just something that came out of nowhere. There was build-up, there was hype. So let's go over the small things Cygames has done with Umamusume that planted the seeds for the global takeover in which we now get TikToks like these. The first thing we should establish is that Umamusume, the game, did really fucking well financially. I'm talking billions that made, and although I don't think it's making the exact same numbers like it used to, they definitely used that money well. A lot of people point to the anime as a direct result of the money they made. It definitely isn't shown in season 1 since that premiered years before the app was released, but when you look at the other seasons and especially the movie, the effort is as clear as day. Literally every edit and hype moment scene that people pick is always from the movie, and yeah, it makes sense, but just know why those scenes look as good as they do. Before Global was close to coming out, the conversations surrounding Umamusume were literally just comparisons to Blue Lock Season 2 because of its mediocre animation. And even as someone who loves Blue Lock, dude, what the fuck? Also, have you seen that Blue Lock game that's literally an Umamusume ripoff? Oh my goodness. Because my experience of seeing Umamusume blow up was Blue Lock to what the fuck is everywhere, I decided to get in contact with some friends that were into Umamusume before it exploded in popularity. And I'd like to apologize to all of them for not getting into it until Global released. I should have listened to you. Thank you Denzi, Logan, and Warren for helping me with gathering pieces of info for this video. Denzi kind of gave me like a whole structured essay, so to make sure I don't get called up for plagiarism, most if not everything I say from here on out is paraphrasing his words in one way or another. Bro, you even cited your sources correctly, what the fuck? Coming from Denzi's perspective, most of Uma's reach before Global came out were mainly from the fans just spreading the word. I can personally attest to this because I kept seeing Denzi playing the game and showing it around. Word of mouth does go a long way though, as we'll see later on. But the state of things were, you weren't going to convince everyone to join in on the horse hype train. There were small steps made along the way by both the fans and Cygames themselves that inched their way towards global domination. One of the events Denzi mentioned was Umamusume Party Dash being played at a fighting game tournament. Considering this was streamed February of this year, it no doubt got some eyes in the series, and seeing it be played in an actual tournament gets me fucked up for some reason. Now back to Cygames. It turns out they actually have respect for the original material. No shit is what you're probably saying, but it goes way farther than just accurately depicting the horses. The series revolving around horse racing has inevitably raised more of an interest for it as a whole. Having your multi-billion series about horse racing and having the horses themselves be based on the real life horses will eventually make people go, wait, they're real? Okay, I gotta check this out. And Cygames has noticed that influence. You know, it'd be so easy just to take the likeness of horse racing and then run off with it, but no, they paid respect to the series by both purposely drawing attention to it and sponsoring it. Around 2024, Cygames had their own Umamusume exhibit at the International Museum of Horses in Lexington, Kentucky. It both advertised the history of horse racing in Japan, but also connected it to the Umamusume series. Because of how faithful the series is, it provides a really seamless bridge to the real-life counterpart and the anime counterpart that's incredibly smart. And keep in mind, the International Museum of Horses. You are exposing Umamusume to so many people and giving them a reason to be interested in the series. Even those that may not be particularly fond of anime would be intrigued because they adapted horses to anime, girl? What? And this wasn't the last time they would have a presence in Kentucky. Switch to April this year. Cygames makes an announcement they're sponsoring the Kentucky Derby in America to both bring attention to the Derby and promote their game. I can only imagine the look of those that weren't in the umamusume looking at the horse girl posters. But this went a long way. Your demographic is slowly expanding with actions like these. You're attracting horse fans who may not be anime fans, you may get some anime fans to be actual horse fans, and you may even grab the casual viewer that was just there for the vibes. Combined with the museum, it was clear Cygames had immense respect for horse racing and very proudly wanted to lift it alongside them as umamusume gained more popularity. There's two very important details we should mention though. The exhibit occurs in 2024 and the Derby in 2025. The game releases globally in 2025. But if we go back a bit farther past the exhibit, we can see when umamusume announced they were making a global version for the game, June 24th, 2024. Within that year between the global announcement and the global release was all these events building interest, building hype, to a potential global audience that we see today. Now, am I going to act like all of it was because of these events? No, I'm going to talk about the other reasons later, but show the effort Cygames put into advertising. Even now, they're still using their money towards really amazing causes for the horse racing community that you have to give them respect for. I haven't really seen companies go this far to advertise their series in a long while, and I wish some series I'm into went to the same heights they do, but a noodle can wish. Putting all the blame on Cygames though would be incredibly disrespectful to the certain other people that were responsible for umamusume being spread worldwide before global even existed. Who are they? The fans. The community support for this series both pre-global release and after global release has been amazing. I feel bad because they've been spreading the agenda for years and it was only after global came out that people listened, but you know, accessibility and other cop-out reasons I can say. Word of mouth can go a long way, especially in friend groups. My friend Warren has known the series since 2021, but didn't really get into it until late 2024 along with my friend Chloe. He actually set up an umamusume meetup at SakuraCon of that same year. He's been very adamant on his umamusume agenda, and I think that's the one thing that's in common with so many fans. They love the series and want you to feel the same way. Another Uma friend I have, Logan, is fucking insane for those horse girls. He shows those TM Opa O edits from the movies and show how insane the animation was, and I was like, why is the animation so good? This doesn't just extend to my friends. People on Twitter are crazy. Okay, that applies to just Twitter in general, but the umamusume community on Twitter is crazy. I've never seen a more dedicated fan base committed to making sure people get into it. It was evident before global release, with them making guides for upcoming cards that were going to be out soon, but also sharing clips, memes that people won't get until very later on. One of the umamusume fans I saw a lot on Twitter before global release, Nem, actually responded to my bizarre ass random DM that I was not expecting to be answered, but she brought a lot of extra information that I wasn't aware about. Remember when I said umamusume has been around for a while, like 2016-ish? Well, she's been there since the first season aired, which was in 2018. Fun fact, the umamusume game was supposed to come out that year, until it got delayed for 3 years into 2021. Holy shit. The umamusume community was small at this point, but during that 3-year gap, it got really small, which is incredibly shocking to hear knowing how big it is now. A true test of courage, as Nem puts it, which sounds pretty accurate. When Season 2 aired, it brought in a new era of fans, and along with the game getting close to releasing, it created a big boom for the series. Nem states it like the community just blew up overnight, and this time, it actually maintained it since they had content pumping out. And also, she put in a little note I forgot to mention. The horses that are in the series, well, some of the real-life trainers are actually invested in the series themselves, like Goldchip's trainer. Connecting it to my previous points, it shows a heavy level of respect for horse racing and everyone involved. With all the combinations I've talked about, it's no surprise that umamusume had this big jump start to the global release. I got ads everywhere I went, it was plastered all over my timeline, and as Warren put it, there was a sense of needing to know what umamusume was because of the premise. Horse anime girls that run? That sounds stupid as shit. A bizarre concept can drag people in, and if said concept is actually really cool, then they're probably along for the ride. That was the mindset a lot of casual people had, but also streamers. Yes, when this game dropped, everyone was urging their favorite streamers or content creators to go play this horse game, and it was honestly kind of surprising how many neutral reactions it got. Like, you guys want me to play this anime horse game? Alright, I'm doing it for you chat, not for me. And then they loved the game almost instantly. Big time streamers were playing this game, people who have thousands of viewers. Denzi states that it was community effort and luck, and a part of me agrees heavily on the community effort. I think people should really know how big word of mouth can go. Sure, some people may not budge, but there may be some people that do, and they can increase your numbers. Like on TikTok, you still have casual people being confused on why everyone is in this horse girl thing and why it's such a big deal. When something's the next big thing, you at least want to peer into it to see what it's all about. And maybe, just maybe, you might be the next victim. I think what's also added onto the global domination that umamusume has had is maintaining it. Cygames has once again done an amazing job at handling the global fanbase. They didn't just release the game and dipped, they've been maintaining heavy communication with their fanbase. When a lot of people began figuring out that the horses exist in real life and that they could visit them, the social media accounts posted English guidelines for how to properly do it. That's listening. That's being attentive. Cygames has something in its grasp and is not letting go of it, and I gotta give them kudos. They deserve all the popularity, all the memes, all the tweets and videos and money being inserted up their ass. There are of course negatives with having something be the next big thing. You know, people who are there to cause trouble, heavily misinterpreting certain characters or stories, but that goes along with every little thing that gets big, so it's just a matter of waiting until it dies down. And I hope it dies down just slightly though. We're still in that hype train phase, and I know for many fans, this feels well deserved. In regards to what we can learn from Cygames' marketing for this game, it mainly boils down to, I don't know, being smart. I'm not an analyst. But I can say that some of their smartest moves have been advertising areas that they have a place in, that they have a reason to advertise in. We saw that with Kentucky, but also globally in the way that they were aware that many of their fans were outside the realm of Japan. That's the whole reason Global existed, if not to bring in new fans, but to also help existing fans get into the series easier. You look at Anime Expo, and the community is as clear as day. Both the fans and the people working on the game support the series out of passion, not obligation or a duty, even though they're getting paid to do it, so you know, you might as well enjoy it. I really hope some series I love takes some notes. I was gonna talk about more stuff, but I'm kind of busy. I'm kind of busy playing the game right now. So, most to say is that umamusume game global is really cool, and I hope it continues to grow and get more fun and stuff. My script's over there. I can't read it. I'm just gonna. I'll see you in the next video. Ooh.